Hello, dear parents. Topic for today is constipation in your kids. So let's try to understand what constipation actually means. First of all, constipation is definitely a very big problem. Understand that up to 5 to 10% of the kids who attend pediatric OPDs come with a complaint of constipation. And as a whole, if you consider the whole population, close to 1% of the people are having the problem of constipation. That would mean that every 1,000 people, there are around 10 people who are having the problem of constipation. So it's a problem which affects a lot of people. Before I start explaining you about constipation, I would like to tell a small story. This is about a person I know, who as a child had lot of problem with constipation. He used to have difficulty in passing stools, and there was a lot of emotional disturbance in him. And even as he grew old, through his adolescence and his adulthood, he had this difficulty. God knows how many doctors they have consulted, and they tried all sorts of method in the form of diet, exercise, Ayurvedic, homeopathic, and all those treatments, yet they never found the answer. And as per their request, I would like to briefly explain and make the people understand the main questions regarding constipation, as to why did my child have constipation, or what is the mechanism of constipation, why do kids have constipation, what are the reasons, and what remedies I can take, and how I should follow the instruction of my pediatrician. So let's begin. Firstly, what constipation constitutes, that is, what does constipation mean? I would not like to go into the exact definition, but try to make the parents understand what constipation includes. If your child is not passing at least 3 stools in a week's time, or occasionally he is soiling himself, that is, there is overflow involuntary dribbling of at least one time in a week, he has this retentive posturing, or he has problems while passing stools with large caliber stools, that is, large stools which block the toilets, can all be part of the definition of constipation. Now, we will try to understand what could be the reasons of constipation. So, every constipation doesn't have one particular causative factor, but it is a complex interplay between the causative factor, the environmental factor, and how the host reacts. Sometimes the kids have something called as a fissure or a hemorrhoid, sometimes perianal itching or excoriation, all of which can cause some pain, and the child might avoid passing stools. This will lead to the impaction of stools. Occasionally, there are some non-intensive causes, like, say, if the child has change in the dietary habits, or there is a change in the food pattern, it might be one of the cause for constipation. Apart from this, lot of environmental factors have a complex interplay. Sometimes it is seen that whenever a child changes a school, or there are some familiar stresses, maybe there is some kind of sibling rivalry or school bullying, or there is some issue with the parents, any of these can cause some emotional impact on the child and can cause constipation. Try to understand. So it is basically a complex interplay, not one particular factor. So a change in the food, improper toilet training, environmental factors, behavioral factors, all of these together combine, and then the initiation of constipation starts. Once this starts, what happens is the child doesn't pass the stool at the right time because of various reasons. This will lead to more dry and hard stools which become large caliber. This will further aggravate the condition where the larger and harder stools are more difficult to pass, which will lead to more retentive and abnormal behaviorism in the child, further worsening it and going on to a vicious cycle where the child doesn't pass stool, the stool becomes more hard, the child doesn't pass the more harder stool. So basically, it's a complex phenomena. Sometimes parents have seen that along with this constipation, sometimes the child passes loose stools and they feel that the child has a behavior problem where the child passes a hard stool or he passes a loose stool and he never passes the right texture of stools. So try to understand what actually happens is as the stool gets impacted, it becomes tight, large volume. The liquid stool, which is getting prepared newly, it seeps around and comes out involuntary, which is without the control of the child, and the child soils himself. That is, he passes stools involuntary, which is liquid in nature, which patients perceive that it is diarrhea or liquid stools. Basically, it's a end product of a constipated child, but they feel that there is diarrhea, and occasionally when the child is receiving treatment, they feel it is because of the drug which is given. So this soiling can also be part of the constipation itself. Now, after understanding the whole thing, we should understand and try to focus regarding what things as a parent we can do to prevent constipation in your child. Before that, a very brief point about infants. Sometimes a very young child can pass stool once in 7 days, once in 5 days. It is all okay as long as the child is passing normal texture stools. There is no distension of the abdomen. The child is not frequently vomiting and he is not in distress. A playful and happy child who is being nursed by the mother, that is on breast milk alone, even if he doesn't pass stool for 7 days and it is not distressful to the child, it is still not considered constipation. So everything we are going to discuss is for the child which is slightly older. Now coming to the main part of the topic as to how you can act and as a parent what you can do to prevent constipation in your child. First and foremost, we have to understand the treatment will focus on 4 or 5 main steps. That is, regard your dietary factors, regarding toilet training, regarding the behavioral changes what parents can do, regarding what are the drugs and how long they have to take, and finally regarding the right compliance. So these are the topics we'll discuss. Alright, I would like to propose a novel approach. Please try to focus at this point because this is what you have not heard from anybody. The crux of the issue is that we have to understand when constipation started. You'll naturally come to know the cause for it. So, dear parents, try to understand if constipation starts very early. Maybe it has started around the time when weaning was started, or when solid food was introduced, or maybe sometimes a particular variety of food was introduced. This could be the start of constipation and maybe also the cause for it. That is, dietary factors can play a role in early onset constipation. Now, if this has occurred by the time the child is a toddler, then it may be some time that when you try to teach him potty training, or when he tried to refuse sitting on the in the bathroom, or when there was difficulty in initiating the right way of passing stools in your child. So if it occurred during this time, it may be something to do with the potty training in toddlers. If later onwards, it may be something because of the social factors or the family factors. Sometimes it may happen after that you change the place or change the school or the friends changed. So if we try to understand when the constipation actually started in your child, you might come to the root cause of it. So please focus on that. In the same way, let's try to focus our attention towards the first cause, that is dietary factors. Please understand the two limbs of dietary modification is fluids and fibers. So make sure that your child drinks enough or adequate amount of liquids, and if he is not so well in taking liquids, you might as well give him water rich foods like watermelon or fruit juices, something like that. So they help your child to pass good amount of stools. Now, very important, please focus, the food which are good for your child or fiber rich food are your salads, your vegetables, fruits. These are not fruit juice, direct fruits, whole grains, and okay, and curds. So these are good for your child. So any food which you feel is rich in these things are definitely going to help your child. While the things which you need to avoid, the first one is milk, red meat, the things like fries, chips and burgers, then egg, then cheese. So these things are not good for your child. The list goes on. I will give about the list in the description, but these are your main things. So based on this, the parents can understand what are the right foods to give, what to avoid. Of course, you must have heard about this earlier, especially those parents who are doing active research on what food to give and what not. Let's try to briefly understand why these foods have to be given and why those foods have to be avoided. So basically all these foods are rich in fats and they are low in fibers. Fibers help to increase the bulk of the stool and help in evacuation, while fats have a slow passing in your stomach and it leads to more retention and causing of more harder stools. So basically fiber rich food are good, fat rich food are not so good for you. So this is about the diet. Let's focus about toilet training. Now this brings us to a very important part where parents have to understand how small changes during the toilet training can go a long way in preventing this problem in your child. Definitely, parents who are facing a child who is refusing to pass stools in the bathroom, he goes into a cycle of constipation and the father parents go into cycle of frustration. So toilet training at the right time can be definitely helpful. A lot of patients ask, doctor, when to start toilet training my child? Please understand that it is basically dependent on once the child starts giving the clues that he needs toilet training. So what are those clues? Maybe the child is having discomfort when he soils himself, or sometimes a smarter kid may point towards the toilet, make his hand showing that he needs to go to the toilet, or he might have the expression that he needs to pass the toilet in the form of a red face, clenching of his hands, lifting of his legs, and he doesn't want to pass the stool in his diaper. That time he is ready to go to the toilet. Yet the right time would be as the child crosses the time of 2 years. Why 2 years? This is because at this time your child is stable enough to sit for some time. Also, he can recognize the signals of that the child now has to pass the stool, the signals given by his body. Also, he can verbalize and he can give the clues telling that, okay, I need to go to poo or potty. So he can verbalize. Now, a very essential and important part. Please focus. Toilet training should be done by one person. It has to be done at one place and make sure it is done at one time. So if we follow this, making sure that only one person takes him to the potty and he takes him at the right time and at only one place. Also another thing is you can use only one word like maybe potty, poo, poop, whatever you choose your word, but please choose one word to motivate him so that the kid doesn't have the confusion. If you do that, the toilet training is going to be far more successful. Make sure that you have some kind of a routine. Say maybe the child gets up, he brushes his teeth, he has a warm drink in the form of water or milk, take him to the toilet. Or another useful thing is, especially when your kid is finding it really hard to go to the bathroom, what you can do is immediately after he has had his meals twice a day, what you can do is make sure that you go and place him on the toilet seat for a duration of 10 to 15 minutes. Why is this? This is because something called as a gastrocolic reflex, that is, your body gives a signal to pass the stool naturally. So you use this to your advantage and ask your child to go to the bathroom at this time. Regularly making the child go to the bathroom at a particular time in a particular routine definitely makes him prepared to do that. Like adults have the routine, the kids also should have the routine so that it goes in a smooth way. Giving warm baths, giving warm water definitely helps. So, toilet training is a very important thing in dealing with a child with constipation. Now, after you have dealt with the diet and regarding the toilet training, another important part is behavioral management. So, what you have to do is sometimes the kid is depressed, or there are some problems in his school, or occasionally the parents have to smoothly react to the problems they are facing and let's not show it to your kids. So, any of these changes definitely helps a child. Definitely, motivation goes a long way. Sometimes parents have evolved methods like giving stars to the kid, or appreciating him, clapping him for doing the right thing or the right behavior. So, all these things help the kids to positively pass the right stools. Dear parents, please understand that occasionally kids with constipation might soil themselves. As I told, this involuntary passage can be possible. Parents should not punish or scold them, because this will in turn lead to lot of low self-esteem and problems in your child. So please don't punish them, yet focus towards giving appreciation and positive reinforcement. Some methods of biofeedback have also been tried. Now, dear parents, after doing all these things, there are some times when you definitely have to seek the pediatrician's opinion. Like, if this is started very early in the less than 1 month old child, or your child did not pass the greenish stool that is called meconium in less than 48 hours, sometimes the constipation associated with distension of the abdomen, that is, the belly is swollen, that is definitely wrong. Sometimes the kid vomits, that is okay, but it should not be green in color, which is called as bilious. A green color vomiting is definitely wrong. If the child is frequently passing blood in the stool, definitely it is wrong. And if your child is not growing well, these are all things which make you show to a pediatrician. There are some danger signs, like if the child doesn't have enough power in the lower legs, or he has a problem in the lower back, maybe in the form of a tuft of hair or a small dimple or a deviation, occasionally masses in the neck. These are considered as red flag signs or danger signs when you need to seek your pediatrician's opinion immediately. After that, definitely I'm not going to tell you about what are the drugs, what are the doses, all these things, but you have to understand that as parents, we have to cooperate with our doctors. What happens is, treatment of constipation is not like treatment of a fever or a cold, that you take a drug and you come home and the thing is gone. But constipation requires a long-term treatment. A very common query is, parents ask, sir, should we do the enema? Will it cause pain to my child, or is it going to make him habituated to it? Please understand, the treatment is in the form of 3 steps. One is, first of all, you disimpact, that is, whatever the hard stool is stuck, this has to be taken out. Second part will be maintenance of it. Then the child goes into a phase where long-term medications are given, maybe for a duration of 3 months, can go up to a duration of an year or more. Then the third part is regarding reassurance. In the first part, doctors might give some suppositories which are soft gels which are not going to be painful. Occasionally, they might do some perineal irrigation where some liquid is passed in the perineal region. These are not going to be done on a regular basis, but only when there is a hard impacted stool and it has to be taken out. So this is the first part of treatment. Then what the doctor does is understand it is something like a mathematics where your problems are plus and the drugs are minus. The drugs are kept on increasing until the plus and minus become equal. And once your pluses keep on dropping, that is your child is passing right amount of stools every day, the minuses keep on dropping, that is the drugs quantity keeps on decreasing. So the doctor might start with 2.5 ml, go to 5 ml, go to 7.5 ml, then come down to 5 ml, then come down to 2.5 ml. So there is going to be variation and the therapy is going to be long term. So you have to be buckle up and allow your doctor to help you decide the right dosing and cooperate, use the drugs at the right time and make sure you document it well. That is what you can do. You can take a small diary and mention that okay, in this week my child passed stools rightly at these days. There was dribbling or soiling or overflow on these days. The texture of stool was very hard or soft or liquid on these days. So this will help you to understand what is going on and also the doctor to direct therapy and do necessary modifications. So please try to understand, dear parents, it is a long drawn battle. It is going to go for a long duration, yet it is not something which is going to be extremely distressing or that there is no cure for this. Definitely there is cure for this. Please find the right doctor and keep on continuing with lot of faith in him. I have seen patients who have been changing doctors so many times. Definitely you can seek better help in a better center, but please focus. Once you have identified the doctor, please stick on to him and continue the advised course for a longer duration. I hope with this I have busted most of the myths and tried to help you understand the difficult problem of constipation. So dear parents, definitely apart from this, there are a lot of questions you might be having. You can mention them in the comment section. I will try to answer that. And if at all you have any distressing stories and you need help from a doctor, I am here. You can comment. You can help me to help you. I think if this is going to be helpful to you, please let me know other complaints which I might help you solve. Thank you. See you tomorrow.